I love a good 1970s TV movie. When it's called The Screaming Woman, even better. Think of all the 1970s shag carpeted goodness. I am a card carrying Ed Nelson fan. I admit it. I will not tolerate any Michael Rossi disrespect in Peyton Place. Then there's those exploitation films in the 1950s when he was still going by Edwin. We will be talking about the Brain Eaters at some point, everyone. Then there's all the 1970s TV movies. It just keeps coming and coming. Few actors have enjoyed such a fabulously discombobulating career. The Screaming Woman follows Laura Wynant, played by Olivia de Havilland, Queen. She's home recovering from some health issues. However, with a sniveling son, played by Charles Robinson, and a daughter-in-law, played by Lorraine Stevens, who have a lifestyle to maintain, Laura's facing some struggles. Is she really as senile as they all seem to believe? Things grow even more complicated when Laura finds a woman trapped and on the verge of death in an old ruin. Will anyone believe her? Ed Nelson, Joseph Cotten, and Walter Pidgeon co-star in the movie. Jack Smite directs The Screaming Woman from a script by Merwin Gerard, which comes from an original story by Ray Bradbury. Yes, that Ray Bradbury. Now, I've already made this clear. I came to this film for Ed Nelson. But in truth, this is Olivia de Havilland's movie. And of course, rightly so. I'm sure a number of classic Hollywood ears out there just perked right up. In truth, though, I had one problem with this movie. Olivia de Havilland. Don't hate me out there. Hear me out. Everything I'm about to say comes down to casting intent. The brunt of the story plays on the fact that Laura is supposed to be, let's say, fragile. In fact, everyone in town chooses to remind us that she's suffering from dementia. And this is dementia through a 1970s lens, so prepare yourselves. There's one problem here, though. Even in 1972, nothing about Olivia de Havilland is fragile. At the time of shooting, the legendary actress was in her mid-50s and feels just as dominant as she always was. As I sit here, I'm struggling with what this casting does. On one level, the film immediately pulls you back from Laura's struggles and her insecurity. She's not the frail and fragile woman we're supposed to see her as. At the same time, though, I found myself annoyed that anyone could disrespect Olivia and in turn Laura like that. While I'm not entirely sure if it's intentional, there's a larger message at play here about the respect we often struggle to give our elders. There's a keen awareness that even the slightly forgetful old lady up the street is still the woman she once was, powerful and authoritative. In fact, the first half of this film could easily resemble the 1940s women's films that were Olivia de Havilland's bread and butter throughout so much of her career. When the film cusps its second act, we see a hard left turn with Ed Nelson's entrance. While the actor spent much of the decade before this in melodrama and on television, this role feels like a return to his exploitation roots. It's dark, it's gritty, and you can't trust this guy. The film doesn't even try to hide it. As with de Havilland, watching Ed Nelson in this work is a study in star persona. At this point in his career, Nelson was beginning to shift into character and villain roles. However, there's still the slightest of hints to the romantic melodrama he was playing barely a decade before. He is, after all, one of only a handful of actors billed on all 514, according to IMDb, episodes of Peyton Place. His work as Carl in The Screaming Woman is uneasy. It's treading the line separating his recent past and his character and exploitation roots. He looks like your next-door neighbor. He looks like a dad who wears cardigans. There's this uncomfortable awareness, though, that there's more than what we see. He's capable of some unspeakable things. As I said, it's uneasy, and it fits well in this edgy little TV movie. The Screaming Woman is certainly not for everyone. I know better than most that these 1970s TV movies can be an acquired taste, despite how much I love them. However, classic Hollywood fans and star persona nerds alike might find plenty to enjoy here. I haven't even gotten to Joseph Cotten and Walter Pidgeon. This is a small work that gives some legends an increasingly rare time to shine in what was a quickly changing entertainment industry at this point. The Screaming Woman is, at the time of recording at least, currently streaming on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me here at what is a new experiment here at Piercing Pop Culture. I look to be generating some varied and hopefully interesting audio work the deeper I get, so stay tuned and look for more. Have a good one, everyone, and we'll talk again soon. Bye, all.